very good evening and thank you for joining us. You're watching Rupavahini News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Sharika Tahir.
And I'm Ashik Aminuddin. First we take a look at today's headlines. A series of special pincums held in the historical city of Anuradhapura to invoke blessings on the President who has built a country ready to face the world. The Mahasangha commend the government for providing facilities to Piriven education. A fast-tracked service to provide national ID cards to GCE ordinary level candidates. Minister Vimal Veeravansa questions the Tamil National Alliance on their opposition against Murali for courageously standing on behalf of the motherland. The British government pressurized by human rights organizations demanding for an independent inquiry on war crimes committed against Northern Ireland.
A look at those and other stories in detail. Deputy Minister S.M. Chandrasena has sworn in before President Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Special Project Minister. Mr. S.M. Chandrasena entered politics through the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in 1977. He was the opposition leader of the Ipalogama Pradeshya Sabha for some time. He has also functioned as a member of the North Central Provincial Council and as a minister of the Provincial Council. He entered Parliament in 2001. Mr. Chandrasena has also functioned as a minister and a deputy minister. The chief incumbent of the Attamastane, Venerable Pallegama Srinivasa, the chief incumbent of the Ruan Valley Sai, Venerable Dr. Pallegama Hemaratanathera, the Mahasangha and several ministers and parliamentarians, Secretary to the President Lalit Veeratunga, family members of Mr. Chandrasena attended the swearing-in function held at the President's house in Anuradhapura.
Meanwhile, an almsgiving for 1,000 mothers, or referred to in singular as Kiriyamma, in connection with the President's birthday anniversary of the accession to leadership and becoming the chairman of the Commonwealth was held at the historical Ruan Valley Mahasaya premises in Anuradhapura today. President Mahinda Rajapaksa went to the Ruan Valley Mahasaya early this morning and offered milk food. Afterwards, he offered alms to mothers. The chief incumbent of the Ruan Valley Mahasaya, Venerable Dr. Pallegama Hemaratanathera, performed religious rites and invoked blessings on the President. The Governor of the North Central Province, Karnaratna Dilgane, Chief Minister of the North Central Province, S.M. Ranjit, and Chief of Presidential Staff, Gamini Senarath, also attended the occasion. The placing of treasure and relics at the Sanda Hiru Saya in Anuradhapura took place today under the patronage of President Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Chief Sanganayaka of the North Central Province and Chief Incumbent of the Attamastane, Venerable Dr. Pallegama Srinivasa Nayakathero, members of the Mahasangha, Parliamentarian Shahan Semasingha and several others attended the function. The two-storied bhikkhu residency of the Sri Jnanodaya Mahapirivena in Talaba was vested with the Mahasangha under the patronage of the President. This residency was constructed in connection with the 2600th Sambuddha Jayanti festival. The President offered a pirikara to the chief incumbent of the Sri Jnanodaya Pirivena Royal Pandit Shastrapati Venerable Manikinne Dira Nandathero. The chief incumbent of the Viharaya Shastrapati Venerable Yatigambola Santananda Nayakathero, members of the Mahasangha, Minister Sissa Karaliyada and S.M. Chandrasena and Deputy Minister Veera Kumar Sanayaka and several others attended the occasion.
The Amnesty International has called for an inquiry about the shooting to kill mission carried out by the British Army hit squad in Northern Ireland. The members of the Covert Military Reaction Force of the British Reaction Force, MRF, has broken their silence in the BBC Panorama documentary and admitted they shot and killed terrorist suspects on site in Northern Ireland, whether they were armed or not.
In 1972, Belfast was one of the most dangerous places on earth. There were multiple bombings and shootings almost daily. Panorama has learned that soldiers from a secret undercover unit operating that year acted outside the law and shot unarmed civilians. The military reaction force had about 40 men, hand-picked from across the British Army. 3 former members of the unit have agreed to appear on camera on condition their identities are disguised.
What was the mission, as you understood it?
To draw out the IRA and to minimise their activities.
Minimise their activities?
Yes.
In what way?
Well, if they needed shooting, they'd be shot.
We were not there to act like an army unit. We were there to act like a terror group.
Some plainclothes soldiers thought it acceptable to shoot unarmed people. The soldiers admit they operated outside the rules of engagement. The Army's yellow card prohibited firing unless lives were in immediate danger.
There were strict rules as regards the yellow
So
card.
you knew the rules of the yellow card?
Oh yeah, I knew the rules of the yellow card inside out. But
It didn't apply to the MRF?
no.
I just want to be clear about where the red line was, as it were.
I think it's a fuzzy red line.
The MRF was wound up after about 18 months. The Ministry of Defence has told the BBC it's referred allegations that some MRF soldiers shot unarmed civilians to the police in Northern Ireland. This could mean the end of the Historical Inquiries team, who've been reviewing such cases for the last 7 years. But 40 years on, some relatives are still seeking answers. John Wayne.
Meanwhile, Minister Vimal Veeravansa says that Muttaya Muralidharan has fulfilled his duties on behalf of the motherland. The minister alleged that the Tamil National Alliance is attempting to label Murali as an enemy for having bravely expressed his views. The minister made this allegation participating in a function held to declare open the Disanayaka Vatta multi-storied housing complex in Colombo 10. Minister Vimal Veeravansa said that when the British Prime Minister and the personnel of Channel 4 came to Sri Lanka and attempted to draw a dark picture about Sri Lanka, Muttaya Muralidharan proved that he is a citizen who loves the motherland, similar to the late Mr. Lakshman Kadirgama. He said that following this, the Pradesh Sabhas, who are stooges of the Tamil National Alliance, are adopting proposals condemning and criticizing Muttaya Muralidharan. He said that Muralidharan has become an enemy to them because he expressed his views freely and true to his conscience. The minister said that for the Tamil National Alliance, only those who support their communalist politics and support the separatist agenda are heroes. The Disanayaka Vatta housing project, constructed in 1982, was dilapidated and was unsuitable for living. The government took steps to renovate this housing scheme after a lapse of 31 years. The government spent 15.3 million rupees for the renovation of the housing complex under the Nagamu Puravara program. Steps were taken to implement the project under the instructions of Minister Vimal Veeravansa and in accordance with the Mahinda Chintana vision for the future program. There are 76 housing units, 6 shops and 1 community centre in the complex. Under the renovation, painting of houses, prevention of water leakages and renovation of the drainage system were carried out. Minister H. M. Fauzi and Deputy Minister Lasantha Alagiyawanna also attended the function.
Continuing with more local stories, the Mahasangha point out that it was this budget that has provided maximum facilities for Pirivan education in the recent history. They said that the true objectives of the government to develop Buddhist education is clearly shown in the budget proposals. The Mahasangha has commended this step taken by the government to create a virtuous society. The streamlined education affiliated to Buddhist temples started in the country with the advent of Mahinda Thera. The entrance system of Valipille education confronted the missionary education subsequently. The setback received by Pirivan education was raised up to some extent by the late Anagarika Dharmapala and Sir Alcott. However, in the recent period, the Pirivan education was confined to the Bhikkhu generation, and the state patronage to this sector remained in a very low level. However, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, understanding the importance of raising the standards of Pirivan education, has proposed to provide financial assistance of 500,000 rupees each for all Pirivanas. The government has also decided to provide the disaster loans, property loans, Agraha insurance and railway season tickets enjoyed by the government servants to the Pirivana teachers as well. The annual assistance for Bhikkhu students has been increased to 5,475. A lay student will get 1,825 rupees as assistance. The government has also targeted to increase the number of students receiving Pirivan education by 25%. The Mahasangha commends the government for providing these facilities to the Pirivan sector. The chief incumbent of the Vidya Vanasa Pirivana of Gampaha, Venerable Balagove Dhammakirti Thera, said that they were in a state of disappointment for ignoring the student decrees and the teaching staff of the Pirivana institutions. The chief incumbent of the Askiri Pirivana, Venerable Narampanavi Ananda Thera, thanked the President for focusing more attention on the appeals made by the Mahasangha and making financial allocations in the budget for the development of the Pirivana education. The chief incumbent of the International Sama Viharika Bhikkhu Education Institution, Venerable Gona Mariave Nandasiri Thera, said that the budget has provided all facilities enjoyed by the government servants to the teaching staff of the Pirivan institutions as well. The Southern Province Pirivan Director, Venerable Keradevala Punyaratana Thera, said that this is a great service done for the whole Buddha Sasanaya. He said that while developing the country, the President has also taken steps to develop moral standards of the population by increasing facilities to religious institutions as well.
Meanwhile, the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, said that the 2014 budget is not merely confined to 1 year, but a part of the 3-year-long program. The key objective of the budget is to reduce the budget deficit to the level of a medium-income earning country. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka held a special seminar on the 2014 budget. The Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, delivered the keynote address at the seminar.
For the country is a journey, a 3-year planned journey. Medium-term framework is reasonably understood in that context. In that journey, the 2014, ultimately when everything put together, revenue and expenditure, you need to keep the balance of that. We are still in a deficit balance at 5.2% of GDP. That's the critical macro figure you should keep in mind. That 5.2% of GDP, in comparison to this year, 5.8, is a reduction. Reduction in relation to national income. Even in absolute terms, deficit is more or less the same as this year, very small change. That's the first product out of this number game. Second one is spell out, very clearly spell out. It won't end up there. We closed the accounts by 2014 December to have 5.2% of fiscal deficit, and then commit to 4.5 in 2015 and 3.8 in 2016. Why 2016? Very crucial. The government presented a 10-year development framework in 2006 to take the country to a particular income level, economic status, middle income country status, $4,000 per capita income status. Those are the kind of targets it spell out. By the time country reach that, country should be not just statistically strong, but economically strong as a middle income country. Middle income countries are not run with deficits, large deficits. They are run with comfortable macro framework. In that context, by the time Sri Lanka reach middle income economy status, that economy will have 3.8% or less than 4% fiscal deficit.
Continuing with more local stories, the United National Party parliamentarian Harsha De Silva said that there are many commendable factors in the budget. He appears as the main economic analyst of the United National Party. The United National Party parliamentarian Harsha De Silva said that the budget has given 300% tax relief to the private institutions for research activities. These are good proposals. Despite decrease of government income, the budget deficit has been maintained at a low level by reducing the expenditures of the government. He said that these steps taken by the budget are appreciable. Several religious functions were held in Anuradhapura in connection with President Mahinda Rajapaksa's birthday anniversary of ascension of presidency and becoming the chairman of the Commonwealth. An all-night Pirit chanting is being held at the Ruwan Valley Sire. Now we bring some live visuals from these functions.
කීර්තියක් ලබා දෙමින් පොදු රාජ්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේ ගරු සභාපති පදවියෙන් පිදුම් ලැබීමත් කියන මේ කාරණා තුන මුල් නිමිති හැටියට තබා ගනිමින් ජනාධිපතිතුමන් ප්‍රමුඛ මුළු ශ්‍රී ලංකා ද්වීපයේම වාසය කරන සියලු දෙනාටම ආශිර්වාද පිණිසයි මේ පිරිත් පින්කම පැවැත්වෙන්නේ. ස්වල්ප මොහොතකට ඉස්සර වෙලා සර්වඥ ධාතුන් වහන්සේ නිධාපිත ධාතු කරඬුවත් කෝටියක් සක්වල ආඥා චක්‍රය පතුරවා දේශනා කොට වදාළ ආනා දේශනාව ඇතුළත් පිරුවානා පොත් වහන්සේත් මහා සංඝ රත්නයත් පංචතූර්ය නාදයේ මත
New libraries in 22 schools in the Anuradhapura district have been vested with the students. President Mahinda Rajapaksa presented the keys of the relevant libraries to the principals of the schools at the President's house in Anuradhapura today. In conjunction with that Kerala National Exhibition, libraries have been established in rural schools under the Nanaguna PSA program. The project is being implemented by the Presidential Secretariat Office with the assistance of the public and private sector institutions. The construction work is carried out by the Civil Defence Department. The National Engineering Research and Development Centre provides technical assistance for this project. A library has a floor space of 800 square meters. 1,000 books and a computer is also provided to each library. The Secretary to the President, Lalit Veeratunga, said that President Mahinda Rajapaksa is performing a highly impressive service for free education. The Secretary to the President, Lalit Veeratunga, said that the President asked him at Temple Trees about 3 years ago whether there is anything that can be given to the children to take with them. At the same time, he said that we should give some books for them to build libraries in their schools and launch the concept of the distribution of books to schools under the project called Nanaguna Tilina. After that, when books were distributed under this scheme, he said that the President wanted to provide a place for them to keep the books, and accordingly, he initiated the concept of Nanaguna PSA Library Program.
තියාගන්න තැනකුත් හදලා දෙන්න ඕන ලලිත්. ඔහොමමයි මේ වචන ප්‍රකාශ කරේ. ඒ අනුව තමයි ඔබතුමාගේ අනුග්‍රහයෙන් ඔබතුමාගේ සංකල්පයෙන් ඔබතුමාගේ මඟ පෙන්වීමෙන් මේ නැනගුණ පියස කියලා පුස්තකාල පවා හදන්නට අපි යොමු කරේ.
A student of a school also expressed her opinion at this occasion. The student said that it was the President who created an atmosphere of living without any fear for students like them in the villages such as Kapitigollava and Padaviya who were living under utter fear. Several ministers and parliamentarians and the chief of the presidential staff, Kamini Senarath, also attended this function.
Governor of the Central Bank, Ajit Nivad Cabral, said that comparative to the gross national product, the government has been able to reduce the loan payments ratio to 79%. It was 106% in the year 2002. Participating in a special budget discussion with National Rupavahini, the Central Bank Governor said that the government has been able to improve the economic stability of the country through positive fiscal management. Governor of the Central Bank, Ajit Nivad Cabral, said that in the year 2002, the loan repayment ratio comparative to the gross national production was 106%. The government has by now reduced the percentage to 79. After 30 years, it was reduced to 80%. There are people who make strong allegations that the government is taking more loans. However, this situation will be completely changed. The ratio, which was 106% during their time of rule, cannot be brought down to 65% overnight. Therefore, it has to be brought down gradually by proper fiscal management. It is the expectation of the government to bring down this ratio to 65% in the next 4 years. He said that the government overcame many challenges to establish economic stability. Infrastructure facilities were developed and investment opportunities were expanded. Mr. Cabral said that the government was able to achieve high level of economic development while facing many economic challenges. The governor of the central bank, Hajit Niwad Cabral, also said that the government opted for challenging targets. The economic growth of 8% and reduction of loan percentage to 65% are challenging targets. The bringing down of inflation to 5% is also a challenging target. The government has maintained inflation at a single digit for the last 57 months. The governor said that there had been no such period previously. A special service to issue ID cards for this year's GCE ordinary level candidates has begun. The Department of Registration of Persons said that this program will be operational on weekdays and Saturdays. Candidates who have reached 16 years of age will be issued national ID cards up to 7th of December. During the next 2 weekends, a special one-day service will be in operation from 8:30 a.m. onwards. 96% of the issue of ID cards will be carried out through the special counter. GCE ordinary level examinations will commence from the 10th of next month. 384,056 school candidates will sit for the examination. The number of private candidates will be 194,084. The examination will be held in 4,312 centres. The Commissioner General of Registrations of Persons, Sarat Kumar, said that students who have not received ID cards so far could obtain ID cards by sending a fax to phone number 0112 593 634. The Commissioner General of the Registration of Persons, Sarat Kumar, said that if there is a school or candidates who have not received ID cards so far, they should inform them with the name of the school, address, telephone number or fax number. These inquiries could be forwarded to their fax number 0112 593 634. He said that urgent action will be taken upon receipt of such requests.
Parliamentarian Malini Fonseca, who is considered as the queen of the Sri Lankan cinema, has completed 50 years of her artistic life. In this connection, she is to receive several awards at international festivals. Mrs. Malini Fonseca started her stage drama life in 1963 from the Noratha Ratha stage drama. In 1968, she entered the cinema world through the film Punchi Baba. Thus far, she has contributed her skills in acting to more than 140 films. She has also contributed her skills to several teledramas. These international awards were presented to her in recognition to her dedication for the art world. The Asia Pacific Film Awards Academy of Australia is to present an award to Mrs. Malini Fonseca. The Bangalore International Film Festival is also to felicitate her. In addition to this, she is also to get felicitated and rewarded by the Asian Cinema Development Front, UNESCO and the International Film Producers Association. This was revealed at a media conference held in Colombo recently. Parliamentarian Malini Fonseca and film director Dharmasena Pathiraja attended the media conference.
Meanwhile, although terrorism has been completely eliminated from this country, the destruction caused to human life from terrorism can never be forgotten. Many of the people who were victimized by war are still suffering. We learned from the Vasantapuram area of Mana about welfare facilities provided by the Sri Lankan Army to a group of such people. At this function, artificial legs were provided to 15 persons who lost their limbs due to terrorist activities. This welfare function was carried out under instructions of Vani's Security Commander, Major General Boniface Pereira. The head of the 54th Division of Mana, Brigadier Maitri Dias, and the army officers organized the function. The Sri Lanka Army provided artificial legs for 150 persons of this area who lost their limbs due to landmines and other terrorist activities.
This story is about an art exhibition in which pictures are drawn using modern technology. The exhibition was held at the GDA Pereira Auditorium affiliated Colombo Aesthetic University yesterday. The name of the exhibition was Mirror Image in Artistic Status. The exhibition was organized by the Chinese Embassy and the Shandong Arts University of China. It was inaugurated under the patronage of Minister of Cultural Affairs T.B. Ekanayake. There were many animated arts made using computer technology. The acting Chinese ambassador in Sri Lanka, several Chinese nationals and Minister T.B. Ekanayake participated in drawing of arts at this exhibition. We move on to sports news, and to bring you the latest from the world of sports, we have with us Kasim Segera. Over to you, Kasim.
Thank you, Sharifa. Good evening and a warm welcome to Sports News on Rupavahini, and I'm Kasim Segera. Starting off with cricket news, in the first match of the Ashes Test series between Australia and England, Australia has set a target of 560 runs for England to reach. Today was the third day of the test. The match is being played in Brisbane in Australia. The Australian team scored 295 runs in their first innings. England scored only 136 runs in their first innings. The Australian team scored 401 runs for the loss of 7 wickets and gave the opportunity for the England team to bat their second innings. David Warner scored 124 runs and Michael Clarke scored 130 runs in the second innings of the Australians. Brad Haddin of Australia, who is playing in his 50th test match, scored 94 runs in the first innings and 53 runs in the second innings. The England team, chasing a target of 561 runs, was 24 runs for the loss of 2 wickets at the close of the play today. The England team has to score another 537 runs for the victory.
And Australia were the winners. KP gone.
And that brings us to the end of the news tonight. Do join us tomorrow for more. Then a very good night to you.
Good night.